Today, I'm recapping Week 1, and I'm also going to be previewing Week 2 of the 2024 NFL season on this edition of the Shumake Take. Let's get it. All right, and welcome in, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're having a fantastic, fantabulous, awesome, freaking day. My name is Garrett Shumake, and you are listening to the Shumake Take, and this is episode 12. And today we are recapping NFL Week 1, and we are going to be previewing NFL Week 2. But before that, we got a little bit of housekeeping to do, as always. Just got to warm up my voice and get into the show a little bit. But there is going to be a little bit of a content change. I know in episode 11 I said, okay, we're going to upload Wednesday, we're going to upload Saturday, and that's still going to remain the same. But we're adding a new day. There's going to be a third day added onto it, and I decided that starting next week, we'll have to see. I'll explain why it may not be next week in a second. But to establish context, today's video is going to be recapping NFL Week 1 and previewing Week 2. This video is going to be very, very, very long. This is going to be the longest video I ever did. And I think I'm going to split them up into two separate videos. Not for this one. This one's going to be just one big one. But I think the new plan is going to be Sunday, before Sunday Night Football, I'm going to recap all the Thursday night game, NFL Thursday Night Football. Oh my God. We're going to recap Thursday Night Football. We're going to recap all of the Sunday games before Sunday Night Football. So that way, everything is still fresh in my mind, and also it's more recent, so you guys can get on the content right as the games are done, so it'll still be fresh in everyone's minds. And then on Wednesday, I'll recap Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, and then we'll preview Week 2, and then go on from there. And then Saturday, Shumake Take Rants will remain the same. So we're just adding another content day, just so the content is more relevant. Because this will be going up on Wednesday. I'm recording this Tuesday night. It's currently 9:15 p.m. And by this time, I'm already done recording. So we're going to split it up a little bit. So there's going to be more content to go around for Shumake Take fans out there. All 9 of you that are out there right now at the time of the recording of this video. But other than that, other thing, I'm not going to talk about college football today. I want to really, really bad, but honestly, this video is going to be long enough as it is, and I don't want to bog you guys down any more than I'm already going to. But there was some crazy things that happened in college football. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois University. That's probably the biggest upset of the week. There's a couple other upsets that happened as well that were really fun and really exciting. My USF Bulls, I don't really play favorites that often or show much bias towards this particular team, but the USF Bulls, my alma mater where I graduated, hey, we kept Alabama. We were down by 1 point for a majority of the game. Let's go. But we ended up losing 42-13 or something like that. We ended up getting beat down really bad at the end. But hey, give credit to Alex Golesh and his coaching staff for taking the USF Bulls and making them competitive with the number 4 team in the country. That's really cool, honestly. But I'm not going to talk much more about that. There's not much more that needs to be said. But we got to recap NFL Week 1. And one more thing before I start. Like I said, it's going to be a long video. So I'm telling you right now, go ahead, go grab you a snack. Go grab you a drink. I got my drink right here. Got my trusty, old, reliable water. Make sure you stay hydrated, folks. Do it. So just sit back, relax, get a little bit comfortable. Wherever you like to sit in a chair, lay down in your bed. Whatever you want to do, shoot. You want to lay on the floor? Lay on the floor, bro. I don't care. However you're comfortable to listen to me talk about football for what's probably going to be over 2 hours. If I'm guessing. I'm going to say it right now, and I might jump off the camera because I'm using my phone to record this. So I might jump off camera to go look at my phone to see and let you guys know. But we'll see. But we got to jump into it. Start talking about Thursday Night Football. First game of the year where the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Baltimore Ravens 27-20. And this game to me was kind of underwhelming. The first things first, this felt like a classic Chiefs game from their perspective, and this felt like a classic Ravens game from their perspective. We'll start with the Kansas City Chiefs, the team that won this game, And the big notable thing here is that Mahomes did not miss a single beat. I thought this offense would be a little bit slow to start the year, and you know what? They came out firing, and they were one of the best offenses in Week 1. They were one of the best, and it was really refreshing to see some of their receivers making plays, because last year was probably the worst statistical year of Patrick Mahomes' career as a starting quarterback, and it's nice to see that the big question mark was the receivers. It's nice to see that they're out there making plays. We'll talk about more about them in a minute. But the defense also was very solid. They were making good plays. They were slowing down the Baltimore Ravens passing game a lot. They slowed down Derrick Henry a lot in the second half even. Although that might be more of the Ravens not using him correctly more than the Chiefs stopping Derrick Henry. But even then, he had, I think, 40-something yards in the first half, and that was it. He did have the touchdown, which was, good for Derrick, good for King Henry. But outside of that, the Ravens couldn't get much going on offense, and that's where we're going to have to jump over to them, because the big storyline for this game was the Baltimore Ravens. The Chiefs, like I said, it felt like a classic Chiefs game where they were good on offense, they were making plays, and they proved why they're the best team in the NFL over the past 2 years. But the Ravens, why did this feel like a classic Ravens game? I don't know. And if you want to ask me, I have it on my script right here. I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. What's something that happens with the Ravens every single year? Something with their offense, something about a certain position not getting open. If you would guess the receivers, ding, 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 you were correct. The receivers were not getting open. They were not separating. They were not making plays. There was drops. The only consistent wide receiver was Zay Flowers, and he was okay. He wasn't great. He was okay. And Nelson Aguilar wasn't getting involved. Rashad Bateman, I don't think had a catch until that big back shoulder catch that he had in the fourth quarter. Well, it wasn't back shoulder, but he had a really nice catch on the right sideline when they were driving down the field to go win the game on the final drive. But other than that, that was it. That was it outside of them. Tight ends, Mark Andrews was an absolute nobody. He was not doing anything, and he's coming off an injury, so I think he's gonna start off a little slow. So I'm not going to nag on that too much. But looking at a positive, though, on this offense, how about Isaiah Likely? How about this guy? He had 7 catches, went over 100 yards, had that really long touchdown that was so much fun to watch. And you can see why Baltimore Ravens fans were hyping him up this offseason as an ultimate weapon/gadget guy that you give him the ball in space and he's going to absolutely cook. He is a big, physical dude, runs like a receiver, and you know what? He played like it today. He had a bunch of big catches, critical catches, mind you. And man, like I said, that long touchdown catch that he had was beautiful. He had caught the ball, made a man miss, ran down the sideline, went whoop, and made that guy run past him, and he ran into the end zone for a touchdown. That's what you wanted to see, and that's what Ravens fans should be really excited for seeing Isaiah Likely perform the way he did. He's a young guy on the receiving core that it's mostly veterans, but I liked him a lot. He played really well, and then of course the catch at the end, lost by a single toe. That's so frustrating. That has to be so frustrating because he probably, I don't know what size shoe he wears. He probably wears like a size 13, 14 if I had to guess. I wear a size 10 and a half, 11. Maybe if he was wearing a size 11 shoe, he probably would have got in. That would have been a touchdown. But that's just an unfortunate way to go out, honestly. But hey, this is a game of inches. That's what football is all about, baby. And it just happened to not go in the Ravens' way that time around. But honestly, it really shouldn't have gotten to that point, because on first and goal, was it first and goal or second and goal? Either way, there was 3 plays into the end zone, and the game was over. But the first one, Lamar Jackson missed Isaiah Likely in the back left corner of the end zone. Threw it too high, and Likely tried to get it, fell down really hard, and got hurt. And after a great game, he was grabbing his chest like I thought he was done for the game. And then he goes out, and then the next play, the bad one, he misses Zay Flowers wide open for a touchdown. In the post-game presser, he did say that he was trying to get it to Rashad Bateman, who was running a slant underneath it. But either way, you can't miss Zay Flowers, who's literally running in the back of the end zone by himself with no one within a few yards of him. You have to be able to see that and make that throw. And that's just a huge missed opportunity, which ultimately led to Lamar Jackson buying time, extending a play on the final play, and then ultimately making a throw to Isaiah Likely, which he caught. Like, unironically, like, forget about the fact that he had a toe out of bounds. That was a great throw. That was a great throw, and that was a great catch. And you know what? It wasn't for Isaiah Likely in his shoe size, the Baltimore Ravens probably would have won the game. So, it's hard to fault Lamar Jackson too much because ultimately he did make the play, just he got unlucky. But he should have had that touchdown to Zay Flowers. That should have been there. He probably should have had the one to Isaiah Likely, although there was going to be a tight throw. But that was just kind of the telltale story of the Ravens defense. But other than that, we got to talk about Derrick Henry for a second, because Derrick Henry did not play well in this game either. He had a couple nice runs, but they really didn't get him going. He only had 13 carries the whole game. And here's the thing. If you know what Derrick Henry was like with Tennessee, everybody probably does. Derrick Henry is like, if you ever played the game Minecraft, it's like having a piece of armor or weapon with the curse of binding. If you don't know what that is, the curse of binding pretty much is, you're stuck with this item and you're forced to use it until it breaks. And the thing is, with Derrick Henry, he's a curse. He's a blessing and a curse at the same time. He's a blessing because he's a great player. He's a great freaking football player. One of the greatest Titans to ever live. Most Titans fans will tell you. He had a great run over there in Nashville. But the thing with Derrick Henry, the reason why he was so good was because they used him and literally ran him into the ground over and over and over and over and over again ad nauseum. And that's the only way to truly use Derrick. Because whether you like him or not, he is kind of a one-trick pony. He always has been. He's a really great runner, but out of the backfield, he's not great. In pass protection, he's not great. And there's only one way to use him, and you have to use him in that way. And if you don't give him the carries that he needs to wear down your defense and for him to be successful, you might as well not have him on the team. And that's the Derrick Henry curse, is that it inherently limits your offense because he does only one good thing really well, and it's hard to execute a balanced offense when that happens. And then when you go down in the game and you're trying to come back, that further contributes to eliminating Derrick Henry out of the game plan. Because when you're down, you have to throw the ball more. You have to try and get points. You have to try and get points quickly, mind you. And you can't get points quickly and run your offense balanced and effectively with a guy like Derrick Henry when you're down. Because simply put, it's just going to make it harder to run the football. Because it's not going to be as respected. And you could tell, like, they were still piling in the box trying to stop him when it was obvious they were going to hand it to him. And then there was a couple play actions that made some plays. Like, he was still, like, a factor. But at that point, he was being used like a decoy. And that's not what Derrick Henry is. He's not a decoy. He's a really good football player that has to get his touches. And Baltimore did not give him his touches. And I fear that, with offenses today that need to be balanced in their passing and running attack, Derrick Henry doesn't allow for that as much as you would like to. Because you got to give him the ball. You got to give him the ball and let him run. And then when they started stopping the run, they also started stopping the pass. And then to conclude the typical Ravens game feel for this portion, it all just led to Lamar just having to run around and make plays and do everything himself. He had over 100 yards rushing, which is great, but he had more carries than Derrick Henry, and that should never happen. You signed Derrick Henry in the offseason, so you had a balanced and effective running attack with Lamar and Derrick. I don't think it was in the game plan for Lamar to outrush Derrick Henry. I don't think that was the plan at all. But because they weren't using Derrick Henry effectively, they went down, which took him out of the game practically, and the receivers, with a continued issue of not getting separation and getting open, it just creates a whole bunch of issues for this offensive line to buy time and protect, and then Lamar has to run around and make something out of nothing all the freaking time. And it's like, Jesus Christ. You guys need to, get this crap on track. I get it, it's week 1. I'm not going to dog on it too much. That's enough about that. But definitely for the Ravens on offense was more of the same, despite the addition of Derrick Henry and in the breakout game of Isaiah Likely. But this defense, though, the defense was the bigger thing for me, because Baltimore's defense looked like they missed Mike McDonald and Denard Wilson because their defense looked unprepared. It looked undisciplined. This secondary was taken advantage of. Although the big thing was the linebackers. The big one was the linebackers. And going back to Rashee Rice, who had 100 yards tonight, the reason why he had 100 yards tonight was because every single time, 5 or 6 of his 7 catches were the exact same play. If you watch the game, literally almost all of his plays came from the slot. They came from the slot, running a slant or a quick in route over the middle against the linebacker, where the linebacker simply just isn't fast enough to keep up. And it got open over and over and over and over again throughout the game. And I'm thinking to myself, you got to make that adjustment. You got to fix that. You know, you got to throw a faster guy, you got to throw an athletic guy, you got to throw a corner on him to get him open. And he was just getting free releases and going whoop, and then right there. And that's a sign of an undisciplined defense. Now, like I said, to be fair, it is week 1, and I probably should have prefaced this before we started, but it's just unfortunate. The Baltimore Ravens did not look as good as I hoped they would, and this game was not as, even though the game came down to the wire and came down to a toe, this game honestly didn't feel as close as the final score showed, because the Chiefs felt like they were just in control the whole time, and the Ravens couldn't get anything going on offense, while the defense, while they made some plays, I'll give them the credit where credit is due, they didn't make enough, and it cost them a win in week 1. But before I continue, I will say, like I said, this is only week 1. Week 1 is the biggest liar of any other week in football, because we're going to talk about some of these teams that won today that I thought were assuredly going to lose. And here's the thing. No win or no loss for these teams in week 1 is going to make or break their season. If you won your first game, you're not going to all of a sudden be great and go to the Super Bowl. And likewise, if you lost your first game, you're not going to go 0-17. You're not going to have a bad year. Or you're going to have a bad year. So week 1 is the biggest liar. So everything here, despite, how we're all feeling, whether if you're feeling optimistic or you're feeling down about your favorite team, it's only week 1. It's going to take a few more weeks to get a general feel, to get a general feel of what each team is like and where they are. Because we still don't know. Week 1 is just more about getting your feet wet and just kind of executing what you do best. You're not really game planning to beat an opponent, per se. You're more you are, but you're more focused on just doing what you've worked on in training camp and executing and just doing your job. That's kind of like the premise of the first couple weeks. And then once you get more into it, then you really start getting into the weeds and things start to take more shape. But we got to continue. We got to go to Friday Night Football in Brazil, Packers, Eagles, and the Eagles won this game 34-29. And I thought, we'll start with the Packers here, the losing team. And I thought Jordan Love played well. People were expecting Jordan Love to take a step up this year, and people were expecting for him to play better. Well, I shouldn't say play better, but build off of his second half of last year. And you know what? He sure did. He played well in this game. He made a lot of nice throws, a lot of great decisions. And along with that, I also talked about how a Packers receiver needed to emerge, because none of them were very impressive. But you know who was impressive? Jaden Reed, dog. Jaden freaking Reed was electric and fun to watch. Had the big 70-plus yard touchdown, had a 33-yard rushing touchdown, and he was clearly Jordan Love's favorite target. And like I said, it's only week 1, but man, did that feel good? Did that make me feel good as a fan, worrying about that receiving core and who's going to step up, and to see one step up in week 1 in that big of a way? Oh, that's something. That's really something. And not along with that, Josh Jacobs, the new running back coming from Las Vegas, he played well too. Had a shaky first half, but the second half, he finished off really strong. He wasn't, didn't put up great numbers, but he put up really solid numbers, and what you really wanted to see, he was very efficient. He was very, very, very efficient, and that's the minimum you want to see, is that he's good, he's not turning the ball over, and he's getting good yards per carry. And he was good. And the defense made a couple plays as well. They got a couple of interceptions. Xavier Kinney, the free agent safety they signed from the Giants, he came over. He made a really good play. Jair Alexander made a really good play as well. And while the defense wasn't perfect, they created opportunities for their offense. And in week one, that's all you can really ask for, in my opinion, is just make sure your defense, is making plays. Make sure your defense is making plays where it matters and making turnovers and making an impact. And the Packers defense, despite the loss, they made an impact in this game and gave the Packers a chance to win. And that is really good for them. And going to the Philadelphia Eagles, our winning team, Jalen Hurts was fine. He also looked good. Not as dynamic as you would like to see him. He could not get the ball running on. He could not run the ball well. But he was throwing pretty well. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were going off. They were the only two significant, really big targets that got a lot of catches that were really producing much of anything for the Eagles. But I don't think that mattered because they were getting open. They were making plays. And I said Jalen Hurts wasn't as dynamic as he normally is. But I don't think he had to be because Saquon freaking Barkley in his first game in his Eagle went off, had a really beautiful 25-yard touchdown catch, ran for a couple of touchdowns, and then had over 100 yards rushing. He was fun to watch in this game. And if you're a Giants fan, you were already feeling sick about Saquon leaving and going to Philly of all teams. You're now like in the bathroom doing the business. You're in the bathroom actually trying to make yourself feel better. And man, for the Eagles, like I said, week one's a big liar, but you know what? If you want to say ignorance is bliss, right now I'm hyped about Saquon. He played really freaking good, and I just lost my train of thought. I was going to say he was better than DeAndre Swift was, but DeAndre Swift wasn't bad in Philly last year. No, he was really good. But here's the thing. In order for Philly to work and for their offense to be effective, they got to have a good running back in the backfield. That's how it's always been for their offense. And Saquon Barkley just has the potential here to be the best back, to be the most useful in this offense over the many that they've had over the course of the past few years or so. And week one was very encouraging for the Philadelphia Eagles on their offense. Their defense, they got a pass rush. They were getting pressure a little bit here and there. The secondary was not great, but it was not very good last year either. But to be fair, they had a rookie out there, Quinion Mitchell. Darius Slay was out there. He was all right. I thought Darius Slay was fine. He wasn't a big issue in my opinion. But it's just going to take some time for these two teams to gel, and it's for all teams really to gel and get things figured out. But if you're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles offense and how bad it fell off last year, I'm feeling a lot better about this offense now after that performance on Thursday night. But there's two big takeaways from this game. And the first one was the field was super slick. Receivers and linemen, backs, corners, they were slipping and sliding, going all over the place. So it was like playing in the slip and slide out there in your front yard as when you were a kid, right? And J.J. Watt made a really good point. He had posted on Twitter saying that soccer fields, and I didn't know this, but now in retrospect it makes perfect sense, but soccer fields are meant for quickness and agility, and also for people that aren't 6 foot plus, 250 plus pound individuals. It's meant for, good for athletes, but athletes that are more akin to maybe you and I, comparing me to Jalen Carter or Josh Jacobs. The athletic profile is not of an NFL player is not built to play on a slicker playing field. And after doing some research, that was issues that other international games had, and I didn't even think about this until after I watched the game and JJ had posted it, and I'm like, wow, that's a really good point. But that's neither here nor there. But the big one though, the big storyline coming out of this game is that Jordan Love got hurt the second to last play. third or second to last play of the game, got hurt, rolled, looked like he rolled his ankle bad, but it turns out he had I think he had a slight or sprained or slightly not torn. I don't think it was torn, but I think it was sprained. It was an MCL injury. It was an MCL injury for sure. He's going to miss anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. And if you're a Packers fan, you're worried sick because your backup quarterback is Malik Willis. And they had traded for Malik Willis a couple of weeks ago from Tennessee, and anything we saw from Malik Willis was just bad. It was all bad. Did he have a good preseason? I don't know. I didn't see him watching the preseason, but watching Malik Willis when he started games for the Titans, it was bad. It was really, 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 really bad. That game against Kansas City was awful. His first game against Houston was awful, and there's a reason why, Tennessee ended up moving on from him and drafting Will Levis. And I don't feel confident that Malik Willis is going to come in there and he's going to win football games for Green Bay. I don't think he's good enough. And I heard that the Packers were looking at Ryan Tannehill, which how funny would that be if they signed Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis would have to back him up again? That would be such a slap in the face. Here's your opportunity to be a backup, and now you're going to have an opportunity to start with a new team. You're getting a fresh opportunity, and then here comes the Ryan Tannehill to take your job. It's like, oh my God. That would be hilarious to me. But what's not hilarious is that right now the Packers are not in a good spot with Jordan Love being out, and hoping that he gets better soon, not just for his own health and for his sake, but because his team needs him to. Because without Jordan Love, this team could have a very rocky start to their year, for sure. And now, after the couple of primetime games, I'm take a sip of water. We got to move to the Sunday games. I ended up watching 3 Sunday games, like in full totality, like consistently watching. There's a couple more that I kind of just watched on and off. I was in the middle of doing other things. And then the rest of them, I unfortunately could not get to watch. So at first, we'll talk about the games that I did watch first, because obviously I watched them, took notes, and we'll talk about them in detail. And then the games I didn't watch, this will be a segment I will call Quick Bits, where I just list off the score, who won, and then some of the key takeaways from the game that I at least got, because even though I didn't watch it, like I still kept track of everything. I kept track of everything that was going on, how things were playing out. I watched highlights. I watched people or listen to people talk about the games. So I'm not gonna say like I'm gonna talk about it like I'll watch the game like I was super well informed, but at least I can confidently say like I'm in the know. I have a basic general understanding of what happened in those games. But the first one we got to talk about is the Titans and the Bears. The Chicago Bears, won 24-17, and this game was disappointing. It was very disappointing for me because, as I said in my week 1 prediction, I thought this game I was banking on this game being an offensive shootout. I thought this game, the offenses were going to have their way, and I thought that, this was going to be a fun football game, and it was not a fun football game. It was a very, very, very sloppy game, and we got to start with Caleb Williams, because the big takeaway, at least from this game, the first big takeaway of this game, was that Caleb Williams struggled. He had less than 100 yards passing. He was inaccurate. He was not making plays, and when he was trying to run around and buy time, the Titans defense got pressure over and over and over again. They got a couple sacks. There were a couple really weird plays where he tried to put a ball in a tight window and it almost got picked off, like that play to Roma Dunze. If you remember, the receiver was trying to catch it. Titan safety came down, hit him really hard. Ball flew up probably 10 yards in the air, fell back down, and Roma Dunze caught it. And funny enough, that's his first NFL reception. That's one way to get your first catch. But Caleb Williams in this offense was not good. And I'll give credit to the Titans defense here. I thought this Titans defense was going to play it fine, but I thought they were going to get beat a few times, and they weren't. They held the Chicago Bears to less than 150 yards of total offense and didn't allow a single touchdown. That's insane. That is insane. Now, I get it. It's Caleb Williams' first game ever. You're going against a rookie quarterback. It's a new offense, and the defense took advantage of that. and give them credit where credit is due. And unfortunately, that's the only thing you can really say about the Titans defense. Because moving onward, the other big talking point from this game was that Will Levis stunk. He was really, really, really bad in this game. And it wasn't the fumble. It wasn't the second interception to throw the game. It wasn't even the fact that he had missed two wide open receivers downfield. I think they're both of them to Calvin. I think, yeah, both of them were to Calvin Ridley. And both of them would have been touchdowns. It's the interception. That interception where he was rolling to his left, he was falling down, and he tried to, I guess he was trying to throw it away. I don't know what he was thinking, but the ball flew up and right there into the defender's hands. He ran it back for a pick six. And the memes are coming out of him just sitting there on his knees going like, I don't know, that's really fun. I just find that hilarious, just seeing that. But at least, like, you know, the first half of the Titans was really good. They were up 17-0, and they blew this game. And if I'm a Titans fan, I'm feeling very disappointed. I'm feeling very, very, very disappointed with how this game went, because a lot of Titans fans, at least to my understanding, were very excited about this offense because how different it was going to be. And, yeah, it was not. It was much of the same as we've seen, just an offense that can run the ball well and didn't get much going outside of that. So we'll have to see. It's week one, but not a very encouraging week one either, especially because of how well the Titans defense played. And not to mention the Bears special teams. Special teams played a role in this game as well. I mean, the Bears did have a fumble. Velus Jones had fumbled it. Or I think, yeah, fumbled a kickoff. Got recovered by Tennessee. But the Bears' special teams really came through and won this game for them. Because, obviously, the multiple field goals. And they had a big 66-yard kickoff return. That was fun to watch. And then, oh man, the blocked punt for a touchdown. I watched the game last year where Tennessee against the Colts. And the Colts had blocked two punts back-to-back. And it got the Titans punter hurt. And then he ended up being done for the year. And God, man, that's so annoying. That's so annoying from a football fan's perspective because you can't let your punter get hit. You cannot. In week one, not even in week one should you allow the opposing team to block a punt. That's just poor execution. That's just poor management. What word you want to use. I mean, that's just inexcusable. Some things in week one can be excused. That one can't. That one simply can't. And God, and that's the reason why the Bears won this game. Their special teams and their defense came up clutch. And then Brian Callahan, head coach of the Titans, said in a press conference that they had punted the ball on 1st and 10 every time. They would have most likely won the game. That's a shot at Will Levis. That's a shot at Will Levis telling him that you sucked in this game, dude. And he did. He was really bad in this game. And you got to play really bad for your head coach to start calling you out, in the first game of the season. But, I mean, that's pretty much it for this game. I mean, I was very disappointed. I thought this game was going to be more fun to watch. It really wasn't. I mean, if you're into defense, sure, you probably had a great time. But I surely didn't. I thought these offenses would be better, and neither of them were. But, hey, at least if you're a Bears fan, you're disappointed about how the offense played, but likewise, you saw your special teams make a ton of plays. You saw your defense shut down the Titans offense in the second half, and at least about that, you're feeling a little bit better going into week 2 than maybe a Titans fan is. But we got to continue on the boring train. We have to with this next game. The Steelers beating the Atlanta Falcons 18-10, and good God, this game was boring, and more boring. Good God. Like, I wanted to turn this game off, but I couldn't because I had to watch it. And that's what stinks. Like, I don't want to pay for NFL Sunday ticket, dude. That's too much money, and the two games that were on my television were the Steelers and the Falcons, and then the Jaguars and the Dolphins, which we'll talk about next, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we'll talk about them next here in a few minutes. But, God, this game was just boring. It was boring. And we'll start with the Falcons. And like I said with the Atlanta Falcons, Kirk Cousins was going to start off slow. This offense was going to have a slow start. I called it. I knew it. I'm not going to go into why I knew it because I've already talked about it multiple times on the show. But this offense was not good. The receivers were not making plays as much as I thought it did. Kyle Pitts caught a touchdown though. But I'll say this. Let me say this about the Falcons offense before I dog them too hard. You know what? It's nice to see that they were trying to get their skill pieces involved and let them be the focal points of the offense. Like, Jesus Christ, we weren't seeing, like, Bijan Robinson be a decoy. We weren't seeing Kyle Pitts blocking. We were seeing their premier talented players on their offense trying to get involved, and they made plays from time to time. And honestly, that's all I really wanted to see from the Falcons. Like I said, I expected them to start slow, but hey, we can tell, at least, even in that loss and how bad it was, we can at least tell that they're trying something different and they're trying to actually get their playmakers involved, which you like to see. But Kirk Cousins had a couple picks. The first one was really, really bad. The second one was But hey, I mean, it's still an interception. Wasn't a good throw. And the defense, though, solid. I mean, that's why you get a boring game. Defenses play great. Offenses are awful. And, you know, Grady Jarrett had a sack and a half. And Matt Judon got half a sack. I know that's not a big stat or something huge. But, hey, you traded for an edge rusher, and he gave you something. Wasn't much, but you got something out of him. And the Falcons' pass rush was pretty solid. Granted, it was against the Steelers' offensive line, which is not great to my understanding. But, hey, pressure is pressure, and making plays is making plays, no matter what. And that's nice to see. That's nice to see that the Falcons were getting pressure with Matthew Judon and getting at least something out of their edge rushers, which was a big issue for them going into this year before the Matt Judon trade. And along with that, the Steelers' defense played really well, of course. TJ Watt's going to do TJ Watt things. Their defense overall played really, really well. I mean, nothing there that I don't think anybody, didn't expect. I think everyone expects the Steelers defense to play well, especially in week 1. And the big things here from this game was that Justin Fields started this game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson is currently injured, and I think Justin will start week 2 as well. But, hey, I'll give credit where credit's due to Justin Fields. He played solid. He ran the ball well, made a couple nice throws, and he took care of the football. That's the big thing about Justin Fields. They took care of the football. I know his first snap was a fumble. That was really bad. That was kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. But, hey, no turnovers, clean game. But you know what? This is going to be a hot take. But this is exactly what you want out of your backup. Let me repeat it myself. Let me say it a little closer. Backup quarterback. That's what you expect out of your backup quarterback. A guy that's going to come in, make some nice plays, be solid, and take care of the football. That's exactly what you want. He's like a relief pitcher. You're not going to straight up, strike a whole bunch of people out over and over and over again or pitch a no-hitter. But you know what? He's going to, or imagine like a captain. Imagine like a captain of a ship, and then like the second matey or whatever it's called has to step in and control the ship for a while. He's not going to sink the ship. He's not going to control it as good as the captain, but he's going to hold it in place. He's going to keep everything together and not let the ship, let the sails fly off and things aren't going to sink. Things aren't going to go bad. And that's what you expect out of your backup quarterback. And Justin Fields is going to start again next week. And I can't remember who they play. And they play Denver. So we'll talk about it in the preview. But that could be something to keep an eye on. Because compared to the Steelers, the Broncos defense is not as good. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. But moving on to a game that was actually somewhat defensive battle, which was a defensive battle kind of, but it was also kind of fun at the same time with the Jaguars and the Dolphins. Dolphins win this game 20-17. And like I said, it was close and it was still a defensive battle, but it was more fun than the last 2 games. Because you know why? Because the offenses were making plays. And starting with Jacksonville, there were some things there. Trevor Lawrence was mid to me. He had just above a 50% completion percentage. It was all right. But also, receivers were dropping passes left and right. Not just for Jacksonville, but for Miami as well. A lot of jitters were there. A lot of butterfingers out there. But let's give some credit to Brian Thomas Jr. That throw that he had to Brian Thomas Jr. for a touchdown, that was a beautiful throw. And that's the stuff you expect to see out of Trevor Lawrence. But that's also what we've seen from Trevor Lawrence his entire career. He was mid, like, or up and down, however you want to spin it. You know, he had a couple plays that weren't that good, but then he'll make a play like that throw to Brian Thomas that's really freaking good. And it makes it hard to gauge on how good Trevor Lawrence actually is, at least to me. But hey, you know, he played mid. The defense played well, surprisingly well. And I think the Jaguars could have done enough to win. One thing I did not expect, though, I did not expect Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby to split carries. I know that they talked about Tank Bigsby playing a bigger role in the offense, which is fair. I get that, because he didn't play much last year in terms of carries, but he was effective, and he made a couple flashes, which was nice to see. But I don't know if I didn't fully pay attention to the carries as they happened like that. To be honest, I mean, between watching the Titans and Bears and Steelers Falcons, you know, trying to flip between all three is kind of challenging. But, you know, Travis Etienne did have a fumble in the end zone that was really, really, really bad. And I don't know if that influenced the carries, but hey, I mean, both of them carried the rock well. The yards per carry was good, so they were both effective, which is nice. It was a nice little 1-2 punch. Then Brian Thomas Jr. had a good debut. Only like 47 yards, but hey, he had a really nice touchdown. He was making a couple plays. Gabe Davis had a couple nice plays, and that's what you really wanted to see. You know, you didn't see enough. I didn't think I saw enough for me to be satisfied. But you know what? I got a small taste, and I have to say I'm a little happy. I'm a little happy. I'm intrigued. I'll say that. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. You got me bought in. Maybe not bought in, but you got me. You got my attention now. God, I cannot find the words for words today or right now. But the Jaguars' offense has got my attention. We saw what they could do. We saw what this offense looked like when it was making plays. And at its best, you know, obviously if every team was at their best, they'd be great. But we got a good little taste. And I'm interested to see what happens as the season goes along for Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville offense. But their defense, though, the defense is the big thing for me, because I expected them to not like get blown out, but I expect them to kind of lose maybe like by 2 scores, like, you know, maybe like a I don't know, 27 to 17, something like that. Well, yeah, it's 10 points, like something like that, because I thought the secondary was gonna be too much for the Jacksonville defense to handle. It kind of was. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Jalen, whoa. Oh my God. Sorry about that. But Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both went over 100 yards. They both had great games. Outside of that, there wasn't really much going in the passing game for Miami. But kind of like with the Eagles, it didn't really matter all that much. They were spectacular. They were fun to watch. I know Tyreek Hill, he got detained before the game happened. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not a political guy, so we're not talking politics on the show unless it's absolutely necessary. But, you know, I'm not going to straight up glaze over it and not say anything, but I'm going to at least say, okay, this happened, but we're not talking about it on the show. But like I said, I thought this Jaguars defense was gonna be too much to handle. And like I said, it kind of was. Secondary did allow 200-yard receivers, but this defensive line played well. This defensive line played really, really well, and Jerome Walker had a couple sacks. Eric Armstead had a sack, which is nice to see. And they really did a great job stopping the the Miami Dolphins running game. It was non-existent. I think they had at best 50 rushing yards the entire game as a team, and that's not going to get it done. But here's the thing. If you're good at stopping the run, it makes passing the ball downfield harder, because it just makes it inherently easier to prepare for. Because if you can trust your front four to do what they need to do just to stop the run, and they can plug up the holes, you can send more people out into coverage. And while it didn't do much, like I said, the Dolphins still had 100-yard receivers for the third time. But you know what? They only lost by 3 points, and they had a chance to go down the field, and they had a chance to win this game. It ultimately didn't go in their favor, but hey, this defense did enough to win. This offense almost did enough to win, But this game was really close, and it was a lot closer than I thought it would be. So I'm going to give the Jags their credit where credit is due. And then give credit with the Dolphins as well. In their defense, they got 3 sacks. They were making plays. They made life difficult for the Jaguars offense as much as, they made it difficult on the Dolphins. But ultimately, tight finish. Tight finish. We saw some nice plays from both sides. It was engaging, and that's what made this game a lot more fun than the previous couple of games that we've talked about. Now, we got to get into the quick bits. I'll talk about Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football last. I did watch Sunday Night Football in full, so we'll give that a whole breakdown, and then we'll talk about Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football I didn't watch as much as I wanted to. I kind of started the game a little late. Had some things I had to take care of first. And then I was also talking to a couple of my buddies while the game was going on. But the game is still fresh in my mind, so we'll figure it out. But going into the quick bits, the first one, I'm going to start this one off with a bang. Jesus freaking Christ, the New Orleans Saints beat the Carolina Panthers 47-10, and good God, was this not on my bingo card. This was not on the bingo card, folks. Like, what in the world are we watching? I was keeping tabs on this score, and I saw it go up to 20-0, and I was like, all right, this is disappointing. Like, it's probably going to be like 28 to 16 or something like that. Some stupid score. It's like, okay. And then it went to 35. And then it went to 42. And then it went to 47. I'm like, literally, I was like Will Levis when he threw that interception sitting on his knees. He was like that's what I was like. I was like, oh my God. Like, the Saints looked fantastic. They looked fantastic. Defense obviously played great. The offense played incredible. But the big thing was the big story here for the Panthers is, oh my God. Bryce Young looked horrific in this game. And he had 2 interceptions. He couldn't barely get the ball downfield. Like, it was bad. It was really, really, really bad. And the thing was, I had faith in Carolina. I had them winning this game because I thought that they had added at least enough on their offense to at least give the Saints a challenge and edge out a win. And, oh boy, it looks like this team has not changed a bit. It looks like it hasn't gotten any better. And like I said, it's only week 1. But after a beatdown that bad, it's hard to be encouraged. It's hard to feel encouraged or feel hopeful of any kind after that. Like, if you're someone who was confident in the Panthers, like I was, that things were going to get much better, or at least look a lot better, decently better, whatever word you want to use, your confidence is at least shattered. You're not being honest with yourself if you thought that the Panthers were going to look better and then that happens, and you say your confidence is not shattered. But overall, that's the big takeaways from the game, at least to me. Panthers looked awful. Saints surprisingly looked great. I don't know which one it is more of. I don't know if this is more of the Saints being surprisingly good this year or the Panthers being more of the same. So we'll just have to follow that and we'll have to see. But hey, congratulations, Saints. You really proved me wrong on Sunday. Good God. This is probably the best game you're going to have all year. But you know what? Enjoy that win. Because scoring 47 points and beating down a division rival that bad, oh, that feels good. That feels so good to do. So for now, Saints fans, congratulations. Enjoy your week 1 win. You guys played amazing. Good job. Good freaking job. But another surprising here. Vikings beat the Giants 28-6. And I only had the Giants winning this game, honestly, because I thought their defense was going to do enough to win. And obviously, it didn't. It did not do enough to win. And Sam Darnold, this defense was so bad, it made Sam Darnold look really good. Excuse me. Now, I don't know if this is more of Sam Darnold maybe actually proving people wrong or the defense being worse for the Giants than I thought. But either way, the Vikings got it done. Justin Jefferson made a couple of nice plays, had a nice touchdown. And the big thing for the Giants, for the Vikings, excuse me, is that they looked good. They played well. They played clean football. And that's pretty much it that I got. I mean, like I said, these are quick bits, so I can't go into too much detail with these because I didn't watch them. But I mean, that's a pretty general take I got from the game is that Sam Darnold played well, made nice plays, and that's what you want to see out of a quarterback. After J.J. McCarthy got hurt, people were feeling, Vikings fans in particular were probably feeling upset and feeling down about the year. But hey, you know what? Sam Darnold had a good performance, and who knows? I mean, definitely feeling a little bit more encouraged after that one than before. For the Giants, oh God, the New York Football Giants. You know, they lost this game because they wore those God-forsaken, awful, disgusting-looking uniforms. All jokes aside, they lost because Daniel Jones is dog crap. I almost said the wrong word there. I almost said a curse word on the show. That's something that I take pride in. Like, I'm never gonna curse on this show. I'm not going to. I'm gonna try my hardest not to. So if something slips, I'm gonna throw a bleep in. But I'm not slipping. Not today. Not today. But Daniel Jones was dog crap in this game. And there's a reason why there's videos of Giants fans literally leaving the game while there's plenty of time left. And it's like, they're done. The Giants fans are done with Daniel Jones. The contract was bad when it first came out, and it's only gotten worse. Ever since his contract now, he officially has more pick sixes than he does touchdowns. I'm going to sit back a little bit and get a little bit more comfortable. But he has more pick sixes than touchdowns now since signing his contract. I'm going to let that sit for a second. Let that relish for a minute. For those of you that are laying in your bed, sitting in the chair like I am, laying on the floor, chilling out, munching on some Doritos, drinking some water, think about that for a minute. Think about how sad that is. Now, the only reason why I'm dogging this bad on Daniel Jones is because, here's the thing. When you get paid the contract Daniel Jones got paid, it's not like he got paid like a super massive, huge contract, but he got paid a big contract. And when you see Daniel Jones play like that, and then you didn't sign Saquon, you let him go to Philly, and he has a great game. Ooh, it doesn't look good. It simply just does not look good. His offense was anemic. It was bad. This whole team was just bad in week one, and I expected better. I expected more out of the Giants. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt, and you know what? They came and made a liar out of me, and that don't make me feel good. That don't make me feel good. I was already going bold with the Giants to pick to win this game, but now here's the thing. I'm not actually mad, but here's the thing. The Giants need to be better. Daniel Jones was bad, and like I said, it's only week one, but also, like I've said, that is not if you're a Giants fan, you do not feel encouraged at all. Okay, so sorry for the jump cut. Here's the deal. This is now Wednesday night. I had to re-record. Well, I'm re-recording right now because as I was recording, my phone had ran out of storage and stopped recording, and I didn't realize it stopped recording until after I had spoken about the entire video. So I went through over 2 hours and went back and realized that half of it was missing. Half of it was straight up missing. It had cut off when I was in the middle of recapping the Patriots at the Bengals, and God, man, that's so annoying. I ended up going scorched earth on my phone, and I deleted a whole bunch of stuff, so now I have 46 gigabytes free worth of stuff right now, and oh yeah, this is not happening again. This is not going to happen anymore. I'm not going to let it, but hey, you know what? Got the same hat, got the same shirt. I debated if I'm going to talk about the Patriots and the Bengals from the beginning or kind of continue where I left off, because I don't know. I think I'll just completely restart the Bengals topic. I'm not sure where I'm going to edit it or not. But actually, let's give it some thought for a second. You know what? No, for continuity's sake, let me just restart from the beginning, from the Patriots and Bengals. I'll make a jump cut. As you already saw, the jump cut's going to be, or was, right before I talked about the Patriots and Bengals. So let's restart fresh from the Patriots and Bengals. I'm not going to try and rush this, even though I got all my thoughts out. Try and be as thoughtful as possible, even though at this point, this video is starting to become irrelevant. But the Patriots beat the Cincinnati Bengals 16-10, and from what I remember talking about, this was a shocker to me, because the Bengals, I thought were going to blow them out of the water, and I wasn't really prepared for the Patriots to play good, solid, sound football. Ramondre Stevenson, they gave him a contract this offseason, and he played a really good game Christian Gonzalez, their second year corner. He played really, really well. Sorry, I'm scratching my head. My head itches. Wearing this hat. I work today wearing a hat all day today. My hair does not like it. But they played sound. They played consistent, and they were competitive. And does this mean that the Patriots are going to be a more competitive football team than we thought? Does this mean that they're going to be great? No. But does this mean it was just a flash in the pan? No. I mean, it could be. I think it's more closely that it's a flash in the pan. But here's the thing. They had a really good game week 1. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. It wasn't beautiful. But you know what? They played sound. They played good defense. And it got them the win. And that's how the Patriots have always, tried to win their games. They tried to win with solid, sound, clean football. And we saw more of that in week 1. And good for Jerod Mayo, the first-year head coach for the New England Patriots, to get his first win in week 1. But for the Bengals, this is disappointing. I know you had T. Higgins out, a new slot receiver, and the offensive line is still trying to figure things out. You only had Jamar Chase as a weapon, but even then, he was not very effective. Christian Gonzalez played well against him, and his defense overall, actually. But I kind of thought about it, and I went back, and turns out the past few years or so, the Bengals have started off slow. This is not uncommon for the Cincinnati Bengals in weeks 1 through 3 or so. And it's kind of funny to me because I don't know if it was because I just had a little bit of, didn't have the memory, or I don't know if I kind of got clouded by last year starting off slow because of Joe Burrow's injury, which obviously he was coming back from. But this has been a thing for the past 3 or 4 years or so. And while now in retrospect, their game doesn't surprise me, I don't think this slows the Bengals down any. Obviously, they were hurt. They didn't play a good football game. And their key playmakers were out. And this doesn't make me worry about the Bengals at all. I mean, if they're hurt, obviously, that's what the Bengals have been. If they're hurt, they're not going to do much. If they're healthy, they're going to do a lot. And so this doesn't really shake my confidence for their team in the season, or as the season goes along, or the beginning of the season. Jesus Christ. You guys know what I mean. Compared to some other losses that we've seen in week 1, my confidence isn't really low or lower on the Bengals because they lost this game. I mean, sure, you would like to see them win, especially against an opponent like the Patriots, who I think is going to be one of the worst teams in football this year. But I mean, hey, like I said, again and again, God, you can tell I haven't spoke. Housekeeping really is big here because it helps me warm up my voice and warm up my speech. But, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't lower my confidence much. They were hurt. Let's see how they do in week 2, and we'll see if there's a narrative there. But if not, this might just be a flash in the pan for both teams, more than likely to me. But hey, don't worry, Bengals fans. It's all going to be okay. And for Patriots fans, enjoy your win. Good job, Jerod Mayo, getting his first head coach and coaching a decent game. Good for you. Moving on to where am I at in the script? Okay, we're the Texans and the Colts. Texans won 29-27 against Indy, and we saw exactly what we expected out of the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud had a great game. Joe Mixon had a great game. Stephon Diggs played well. This offense played exactly as we had hoped for it to be, and I was kind of concerned about their defense, if I'm being entirely honest, because they allowed 27 points. They almost lost with Anthony Richardson only completing 9 passes. And although Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter played great games, I mean, they allowed the Colts to drive down the field. They allowed them to score points. And it's hard to win football games when you're allowing teams to score points like that, especially when the other team's starting quarterback's only completing 9 passes. Because here's the deal. With Anthony Richardson, he was very inconsistent in this game. He had the beautiful 60-yard bomb to Alec Pierce. That was a beautiful throw. I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. He was rolling to his left. The pressure was right in his face. People were right here on his chest, and he just threw it up there and bam. Got it to a man who was wide open. And there's only a couple quarterbacks in this league that can make that throw, and that's him and Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if there's any other quarterback in this league right now that could make that throw. And give credit where credit is due there. He made some nice plays. And you could see why he was drafted 4th overall by the Indianapolis Colts. But here's the thing. We also saw what I kind of expected as well was inconsistency, inexperience. And, hey, he started the full game. He got through it clean. But he needs to be more consistent. Because here's the thing. The way the Colts played yesterday, if Anthony Richardson can just get average or can play average, this team is probably going to make the playoffs. They very, very much could be, and it's very much possible. I said the same thing twice there. 3 times, technically. But, Anthony Richardson just needs to play more consistently, and you almost got one over Houston while only completing 9 passes, but completing 9 passes a game is not going to get you where you want to be in the season. And obviously, that's going to get better. I mean, Anthony Richardson's not going to be completing 9-10 passes a game. That's absurd. In the NFL, that would be absolutely absurd. But here's the thing. The numbers got to get better. And honestly, if Anthony Richardson played a little more consistent, they probably would have won this game. But, hey, give credit to the Colts for making this close, and give credit for Houston for holding off a very competitive Colts team and made this one of the best games of week 1. Here we go. Bills and Cardinals. This was another surpriser for me. Kind of like the Vikings and Giants, Pats, Bengals, Panthers, Saints. Well, Vikings, yeah, that was surprising. But the thing with the Bills and the Cardinals played great this game. I thought that they were just going to kind of be there, make a couple plays, and have a couple good drives, and that was it. Oh, no, they were in this game to the very, very end. Kyler Murray had a good game. This offense looked effective. It was moving the ball. And the defense, while not making enough plays where it mattered, ultimately, they played a game where they did enough. I don't know if it was enough for them to win. Obviously, it wasn't enough to win, but was it winning football? I mean, they allowed 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns from Josh Allen and let him do what Josh Allen does. But here's the thing. This defense is going to get better under Jonathan Gannon, excuse me. I think it's going to improve because here's the thing. If you can compete with the Bills on a game, I mean, that's a really good thing for your football team. That's a really good boost of confidence, even if you lost. And the only thing I'm really disappointed about with this game was that Marvin Harrison Jr., the 4th overall pick of this year's draft, only got 1 catch for 4 yards. I know Kyler Murray missed him wide open on the final play of the game. He should have saw him. It should have been a touchdown. And that's a missed opportunity that you got to hit. But it was disappointing that we only saw 1 catch for 4 yards. I mean, I can't remember where they go next week. But, hopefully we're going to be hoping that we can see a little more out of the young, star, talented receiver out of Ohio State. Next up, Broncos Seahawks 26-20. And the Seahawks won this game, 26-20. And this game kind of went as kind of how I thought it would. The Seahawks have a good roster. They put up points. They looked good. Geno looked good. This offense looked good. And the defense made plenty of plays in this game. With the new defensive head coach and Mike McDonald, you bring him in here because the weak spot of this team was the defense. You wanted a philosophical change, and you brought it, and week 1 bared some fruit. We saw some really good things. I saw some good execution. I shouldn't say I saw, because I didn't watch this game, so I shouldn't be saying that. That's not true. But here's the thing. When you're going against a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix, and he gets a rushing touchdown, you pick him off twice, and his passer rating is low, that's a good thing. So maybe I shouldn't say I saw it like I actually saw the game, but looking at the stats and looking at the highlights, you can tell that there's something different. You can tell that there's a new defensive coach there, there's a new scheme and a new philosophy, and that change bared some fruit in week 1. But overall, the game kind of went as how I thought it would. But hey, also give credit to the Broncos, though. They kept it more competitive than maybe I expected. Like, I figured, Bo Nix was going to be in his first start, looked kind of bad, and then the Seahawks were going to go on and do their thing. But hey, the Broncos kept it kind of close, and that is a little bit encouraging for Broncos fans because considering that people, including myself, have counted you out, hey, being competitive is ultimately the best thing this team can be this year with how bad the roster is. If you can come close to winning games, I think you can feel a lot better about going into next year. But hey, scored 20 points, kept it in a one-score game, but the Seahawks ultimately have the better team, and they showed it, and that's why they got it done. Next up is the Chargers and the Raiders, and this one was really disappointing to me because I had flipped my prediction at that, like right then and there, to go from picking the Chargers to win to the Raiders to win, and the Raiders made a fool out of me. This offense did not look good. This defense was atrocious. And man, this team looked very unprepared, or seemed very unprepared given the final score. But here's the thing, Justin Herbert didn't have the best game of his career, but I don't think he had to because J.K. Dobbins had over 100 yards, had a touchdown, and he played really well in this game. And it's great to see J.K. Dobbins playing well, given all the injuries that he suffered through in Baltimore with all the ACL tears. And he came out week 1 and had a great game. And that was one of the big question marks I had about the Chargers going into the year was the offensive weapons around Justin Herbert, which included the running game, which I thought, it's both, that they wasn't going to be good this year. But if week 1 is an indicator of how this running game is going to go for LA, I might be wrong. Here's the thing. J.K. Dobbins played really well, and now he's got my attention. How can you do it week 2? Are you going to continue and build off that game? We'll just have to see, but now I've got my eye on J.K. Dobbins to see how well he does in next week's game. Next up, we got the Cowboys at the Browns. Cowboys win 33-10, and Cowboys defense was the name of the game today, or not today, but in this game. And to me, it seemed like they played well. It seemed like they were absolutely smothering the Browns offense. And looking at what I saw from the highlights and whatnot, I mean, the Browns offense just looks anemic. It just looks bad, and I wanted to give them... I had them winning this game because I thought this defense for the Browns would be better. I thought that it would, along with that, and giving the Browns offense the benefit of the doubt because they're healthy and there is talent there, and it just didn't come to fruition. I saw Deshaun Watson. A couple memes were made out of him because he missed some really bad throws. But overall, I mean, this is another disappointing one. Cowboys, great job for you. I mean, Dak didn't play very well to me, considering how much he got paid, which preview to Shumake Take Rants 8, we're going to be talking about the quarterback overpaid problem, but there's a little preface there. But overall, I mean, the Cowboys, they played great, like I said, they played great defense, and their offense did enough to win, but it's more of a reflection of the Browns, just offense not being good, and going off. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan, you're not feeling good. You're not really feeling good after what you saw from Deshaun Watson and this offense in week 1. To conclude the quick bits, we got the Buccaneers beating the Washington Commanders 37-20, and I'm going to piggyback right off the Browns thing here because, Baker Mayfield had a great freaking game. He was the best quarterback in week 1 in my opinion. He went off. He was making great throws. And this new offense from Liam Cohen looks really freaking good. It's obvious that he's doing his best to get his players involved, have a balanced offense, cater to everyone's skill sets. Rashad White looked good. Godwin looked good. Their rookie running back, there's a fly in the room. Bucky Irving looks good. I mean, everything was working perfectly. And here's the thing. I don't expect the Commanders' defense to be good this year. They were really bad a year ago, and I know they added a couple pieces. But here's the thing. The Bucs offense is still mostly the same from what it was a year ago. So, hey, the continuity there works even with the new system. And we saw what this offense looks like when it's firing on all cylinders. And it looks like a top 10 offense. It very much could be. And I have high hopes for that. Because the thing is, I have the Bucs competing for the playoffs. And they might make it in. And ultimately, I still think it's the Falcons' division to lose. But given how the Falcons started, and given how the Bucs started, it could be very easily flip, and the Bucs take an early lead in this division and kind of step on everybody's throats. But we'll just have to see. And with the Commanders, like I said, the defense did not play well. Offensive line did not play well. But you know what? Who played well despite all of that? Jaden Daniels, the second overall pick out of LSU. Oh my God, I almost forgot. But he played well. He played the best out of any rookie quarterback in week 1. He had almost 200 passing yards, had almost 100 rushing yards, a couple of rushing touchdowns, and he was making plays. Was he spectacular? No, of course not. But compared to the other quarterbacks, how they played in their debuts, I was very pleasantly surprised because I saw the stats for Bo Nix and how bad he looked. Then watched the Titans and Bears and saw how bad Caleb Williams looked. And I was kind of fearful that Jaden Daniels was going to be more of the same. And no, he was not. He was great. I mean, not great, but he played so much better than the other two quarterbacks. And definitely, if you're a Commanders fan, I mean, despite the loss, I mean, you got to feel good about that. You got to feel really good about that because he didn't make very many boneheaded decisions. He was making the right decisions in terms of run the football and whatnot. And obviously, I don't think he's going to run as much as he did in that game. I think a lot of it was just the offensive line being really bad for Washington. But hey, even though Washington lost this game, and you could be worried about how this team's going to do this season, seeing Jaden Daniels play well in his first game is a very, very encouraging thing to see and a very comfortable feeling to know that, you might get consistent quarterback play this year for the first time in how many years at this point. But now we got to move to the Rams and the Lions. Lions win this game 26-20 in overtime, and this was the best game of week 1 to me, at least from what I watched. And the reason why is because both teams, it was back and forth, solid football. I mean, there's not much more you can say about that other than getting into specifics. But, we'll get into the specifics right now. But the Lions offense played as well as I thought it would. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, both looked good. Jameson Williams had a fantastic game. He had a career game. It looked really good. He looked really good. It was fun to watch, and that's why they drafted him, because he adds an element of speed to this offense that's normally, physical, ground and pound, and then you have a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown. He can beat you over the top, but he's a very good route runner. He can beat you inside. He can beat you outside. Like, he can kind of beat you from anywhere. But Sam Laporta, he's a guy who's going to attack the middle of the field. He's going to, find a hole right there, like I said, in the middle, gash you wide open, and make plays there, and also in the red zone. But Jameson Williams adds that big vertical speed. Well, he's not big, but he adds that vertical speed that can really stretch a defense. And what that does is it pulls defenders backwards, and it creates more opportunities for Amon-Ra St. Brown to make something over the middle happen, or Sam Laporta, and it creates more opportunities for David Montgomery and for Jahmyr Gibbs. Jameson Williams' speed and his ability to stretch a defense creates more opportunities for everyone else. So him being out there and playing well, along with that, is going to make this offense better, like I expect it to be. And the defense overall, though, played all right. They allowed plenty of plays that I thought should have been, that could have been better. But here's the thing: the Lions' defense has never been really good. They've always been a team that, okay, they're gonna bend but don't break. They're very hardcore bend don't break to me. But here's the thing: they made the plays where it mattered at the end, stopping the Rams' offense. They got really good pressure in the backfield and really made life hard for Kyren Williams. They got a couple of sacks on Matthew Stafford. So they ultimately made the plays where they needed to be made. And I kind of expected this defense to be a little bit shaky at the start. Defensive line and linebackers I'm not too worried about. It was a secondary that really concerned me because you have a new corner in Carlton Davis. You traded from Tampa. And then, you have Terrion Arnold, your first-round pick, as your second guy. And then I can't remember who their slot corner is for the life of me. I apologize. But, hey, the Lions did enough to win this game, and for the Rams, their offense was all right. I mean, Kyron Williams, like I said, was stuffed in the backfield a lot, had a couple nice runs, but didn't do enough for me to really say like he had a great game. And the only thing that was really good was Cooper Kupp. He had over 100 yards. Matthew Stafford had an okay game, but he had an interception in the red zone that was picked up by Kirby Joseph. That was really, really bad. But other than that, I mean, he played good. But ultimately, the Rams offense could not get enough going and couldn't make opportunities or make the most of their opportunities. And their defense, while their young players had a couple good moments, Jared Verse got a sack. Whatchamacallit? Oh my God. Byron Young got a sack. I couldn't remember his name. My script is kind of down here. But they were making plays, and, it wasn't enough to win. But here's the thing. Like I said, with the two previous games, or not the two previous, but a couple previous games, just because the Rams lost week 1, you don't feel like your confidence is rattled in the Rams. Like, they just lost a close game to another really good football team. And sometimes things are just going to not swing your way. But they got a game going next week. The Rams do. And I think this next game, they're going to have a lot better of a matchup. But we'll get to that in a second. We got to conclude week 1 with Monday Night Football. The 49ers beat the New York Jets 32-13. And the big story of this game was Jordan Mason, the backup running back for the 49ers. And good God, did he look fantastic. He made a lot of great runs, very efficient, productive. And when Christian McCaffrey was announced he was going to be out of this game, I kind of worried for the 49ers. I thought the Jets were going to win this game. Did I pick the 49ers to win this game? I think I picked the 49ers to win this game ultimately. But here's the thing. I thought this offense was going to take a hit. I thought it was going to slow down. I thought it wasn't going to be as effective. And you know what? It was still great. The passing game could have been better. I know there was a dropped touchdown by Brandon Ayuk. Deebo Samuel made some nice plays in the backfield and catching out there as well. But ultimately, Jordan Mason stole the day. He stole the day. He had 160 yards rushing, and he looked fantastic. Like I said, and for the defense, they played really well too. They made life very difficult for Aaron Rodgers, getting pressure and limiting the ability to throw down the field. And along with that, Breece Hall didn't get anything going as well. And it really looked like one team that was just in the Super Bowl, and the other team has a good roster, but still trying to find their way and find their role and where they stand in the NFL for real this time. Hopefully, now with a healthy Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. But here's the thing. The 49ers got a good opponent next week. The Jets have a decent opponent next week for them to get a rebound. But overall, Jets could have done a lot better. Did not play as good as I was hoping. But the 49ers and Jordan Mason, great freaking job. And what a great way to start the year for them. But now we'll get into the meat and potatoes and the stuff that's actually relevant by this time the episode goes up. But we got to talk about week 2 and preview the games real quick. And we're going to start with Thursday Night Football with the Bills at the Dolphins. By the way, if you realize why my mic or my audio might be shifting a little bit, it's because I'm kind of going back and forth. The thing is, I want to be able to sit up in my chair all the way, because if I'm up like this, I can actually have my mic right here, and I'd actually be able to sound a lot better. But the thing is, my chair is kind of broke. The adjuster to make it taller doesn't work anymore, so once I get it up, I sit in the chair and it goes right back down. So right now, if I keep it right here, the mic, it kind of gets in the way in front of my face, and you guys want to see this beautiful, pretty face. It's the whole point of the show. You watch the show to hear me talk and then to look at me talk and to enjoy the pretty face. But we got the Bills and the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football, and give me the Dolphins to win this game. Honestly, you know what? No, give me the Bills. I'm going to do another switch up here, and I hope this one doesn't bite me in the butt like the other one did. But here's the thing. Thinking about it right now, the Bills have beat the Dolphins, I think 10 or 11 out of 12 times, the last all those times they've met. And here's the thing. I know that the Dolphins, how good their offense plays, and especially in September, and the Bills defense obviously did not play well and did not play as good as people probably hoped in week 1 against the Cardinals of all teams. So you would think Tyreek Hill and Jalen Water are going to go off again like they did against Jacksonville. And they probably will, if I'm being entirely honest. But here's the thing. Am I going to rely on the Dolphins in their passing attack? Or am I going to believe in Josh Allen and Josh Allen willing his way to another Bills victory? And simply put, Josh Allen's willed his way to a Bills victory more often than the Dolphins just having a great high-flying passing attack that's going to win them football games. I believe more in Josh Allen, and that's why I have them winning week 2 to open week 2 on Thursday night football. Next up, got the Raiders at the Ravens, and give me the Ravens to win this game. They're probably really upset after losing in such a close game against the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought it wasn't that close, but obviously it did come down to the wire. So if you want to say it was close, I'll give it to you. I'm not going to debate that. But the Ravens are a much better football team right now. I like their offense better. I like their defense better, although they played very undisciplined. But here's the thing. At least they made plays. At least they picked off Patrick Mahomes. They stopped Isaiah Pacheco when it mattered, and they adjusted and slowed down Rashid Rice by the time the fourth quarter hit. But the thing is, like I said, the Ravens are just much better, and the way the Raiders played yesterday, the way the Raiders played Sunday, as you can tell, I'm stuttering a lot. This is not a good second half to the show that I'm trying to re-record. Hopefully this doesn't happen again. But the Raiders, I just wasn't encouraged by how the Raiders played last week. I mean, especially against the Chargers, which I thought were, still trying to figure things out. And they are still trying to figure things out. But I thought with the continuity on the Raiders defense, because a lot of players are back, and a lot of players are back on offense for them as well, for the most part, outside of quarterback and Brock Bowers. And I thought that, that would get them the win. But it didn't. And right now, until the Raiders show otherwise, and they're a little bit more competitive and more disciplined, giving the Ravens to win this game. Moving on, though, to the Chargers at the Panthers, and this one's another obvious pick right now, at least. Give me the Chargers to win this game. They surprised a lot of people, including me, with how well they played last week against the Raiders. I didn't think they'd played that well. J.K. Dobbins went off. And here's the thing. Alvin Kamara had a great game against the Panthers. And here's an opportunity, like I said earlier when I was talking about the Chargers. J.K. Dobbins, you got an opportunity to build off of a great first game. Can you do that against the Panthers defense? And I think in this game he will. I think he will, and that's why I have the Chargers winning this game, because Justin Herbert's still coming back from injury, and right now you need your running game to be effective. And if it can be as effective as it was last week against the Raiders, I have no problem with picking the Chargers to beat the Carolina Panthers, which their offense and defense looked absolutely awful in week 1. Continuing on with the NFC South, though, we got the New Orleans Saints going off to face the Cowboys. In this one, I want you to keep your eye on. This one, I want you to really watch closely, because while the Saints played very well in week 1, and give them the credit, could this be a flash in the pan? Because I don't think the Saints offense is talented enough to be a top 10 unit, despite how well they played. It's plausible. Like, there is a universe out there where that's the case. But here's the thing. You're going up against a real NFL defense now. The Carolina Panthers, not week 1, done. But now you're facing against the Cowboys defense that played very, very well in week 1. And they're going to be looking to build off of a great performance against the Cleveland Browns. And how did the Saints respond? How did they respond when their opposing defense is getting pressure, when they're slowing down their passing game? And honestly, I think it might be a little too much to handle. I think the Cowboys are going to win this game, but by no means do I think this is going to be a blowout. It's possible, it could be, but I'll give the Saints the benefit of the doubt that they're going to make this game close, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm holding the Saints to that, and I'm holding the Cowboys to that this is going to be a fun game. But ultimately, given how well the Cowboys defense played, and anticipating a bounce-back game from Dak and their offense, give me the Cowboys to win week 2. Next up, got the Bucs at the Lions. And originally, I had the Bucks picking this game, winning this game. I kind of wanted to go bold with this one, but honestly, I think I'm just going to stick to my gut and I'm going to pick the Lions to win this game. Right now, I still think they're the better football team, even though the Bucks gave them all they could handle in the divisional round, and they'll be looking to get some payback. Given how well the Lions played last week, I think that they're going to build off of that and play better. But this game might be the best game of the week, and this could be an early game of the year candidate in only week 2, because now there's a history growing between these teams. That's not just 2 4th-place teams playing every year like it has been for a long time. Now it's 2 good football teams really competing and really, trying to prove themselves as one of the best teams in their divisions, if not the best team in their divisions. So giving the Lions to win this game, even though it's going to be very close, and this will be the best game of week 1 right now, in my opinion. Next up, we got the Colts at the Packers. Colts. Give me the Colts to win instantly, because right now the Packers are slated to start Malik Willis at quarterback. And given what we've seen from Malik Willis, I can't trust that. I simply cannot trust that, despite the Packers defense probably making plays and slowing down this offense and Anthony Richardson a little bit. Here's the thing. With Malik Willis at quarterback, he hasn't won a regular season game. Well, he won one. He won the first one that he played. But it wasn't because of him. It was definitely not because of him. And I don't think they're going to win because of him now. And are they going to lose because of him? Probably. I don't think Malik Willis has done enough to prove that he's worthy of being a backup quarterback. But hey, I've heard that he's played well in this preseason and that he improved. Here's your opportunity to start. Let's see what you got. But ultimately, though, I don't think it's going to be enough. Give me the Colts to win this game. And until something else changes or until Malik Willis proves me wrong, Colts will win this 100%. Next up, though, 49ers at the Vikings. Give me the 49ers to win this game. And kind of like with the Saints at the Cowboys, I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Because here's the deal. The Vikings surprisingly played good football. I didn't think they were going to play bad, maybe, but I thought they weren't going to play. I didn't expect them to play as good as they did in week 1 against the New York Giants. And here's the thing. Can Sam, kind of like with J.K. Dobbins and the Chargers, can Sam Darnold build off a surprise performance? Can he build off the game that he had, where he had a really good high completion percentage, some really nice throws? Can he do that again against the 49ers defense? It's going to be a bigger challenge, but it's a solid test, because if the Vikings can somehow upset the 49ers and go 2-0 to start the year, oh man, that's going to be huge towards this Vikings team competing and rebuilding this roster to being up there with the Lions and the Packers. And here's the thing. I had the Vikings finishing last in the NFC North. If they can start off 2-0 and get ahead of the game early, that momentum is very, very helpful towards proving people wrong. But ultimately, though, I think the 49ers will win this game. I think they're just a better football team right now. And given how Jordan Mason played last week, give me the 49ers to win this game against the Vikings. Got a few more games. We got half the games to go, I think. Yeah. Next up, we got the Seahawks at the Patriots. Throw it at the 1-yard line, intercepted. I'm sorry. I have to make the joke. I have to say something about it. You can't talk about the Seahawks and the Patriots facing off without mentioning Super Bowl 49. But give me the Seahawks to win this game. Kind of with the previous game, the Seahawks are just a better football team. But the Patriots, they showed that they were competitive against the Bengals. Can they be competitive again? Can this be another one-score game, or will this be a blowout like I expected the Bengals game to be? That's the wild card for me. Can Ramondre Stevenson build off of a solid game? Can this offense play better? Can it build on something against a young defense with a young defensive-minded head coach? They did it against the Broncos and a young quarterback. But can Jacoby Brissett, a veteran quarterback, can he do enough for the Patriots to win? We'll have to see. I don't think he does. But it'll be something to keep your eye on for this game. But give me the Seahawks to win. Next up, we have the Jets and the Titans. 2 teams facing off that I actually watched. So this one can actually have a little bit more depth to it. But ultimately, though, give me the Jets to win this game because of 2 things. One, this offense is going or actually no, let's start with their defense. The Jets defense played against one of the best offenses of the NFL last year. And the Jets defense is good in their own right, but obviously against the 49ers, they were not a match. But they are definitely a match for the Titans offense. That was not good last week against Chicago. And I know they're on the road. The Titans are looking to get stuff back on track. But right now, I have more faith in the Jets to make a comeback. Not just because I think that their defense has an advantage over the Titans offense, but the Titans defense played lights out in week 1. But you don't get a game like that by playing Aaron Rodgers. You don't. You get that game because you played a rookie quarterback playing in his first NFL game. And whether you like it or not, and I don't want to crap on the Titans' defensive showing in week 1, but a lot of the stuff that Caleb Williams missed, Aaron Rodgers doesn't miss. Not only that, you can't blitz him, you can't throw disguises at him. He's seen it all, he knows it all. So anything that you try to fool him with or you try to get him with, he's going to see it and he's going to decipher it. It's hard to do that. And honestly, the way you're going to beat Aaron Rodgers is you're going to have to play solid, sound football and not let him beat you. And the thing is, playing Aaron Rodgers is a whole different ball game than playing Caleb Williams. And ultimately, I think this Titans defense is going to get a rude awakening, kind of like how their offense got a rude awakening last week against Chicago. Give me the Jets to win this game. Next up, Giants at the Commanders. Give me the Commanders to get a win here. Given how bad the Giants were last week, I'm not feeling encouraged by them at all. Daniel Jones looked bad. His offensive line looked bad. Running looked bad. It all looked bad for the most part. And at least with the Commanders, Jaden Daniels has shown that he can make plays. That he's a quarterback that can make plays and be effective. Despite the bad talent around him, Jaden Daniels showed he could do something. Daniel Jones showed that he has done nothing but create bad plays and create opportunities for the other opposing team to take advantage and win the game. So with that, right now, Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback. Give me Jaden Daniels and the Commanders to win this game. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but you know what? That might not be as crazy of a thing as people maybe think. Next up, though, Rams and Cardinals. And give me the Rams to win this game. It's another instance of this team is just better than the other one. But the way the Cardinals played last week really surprised me and surprised a ton of people. If their offense can be as competitive as they were against the Buffalo Bills, this game could be a lot closer than people realize. This one's very similar to the Saints and the Cowboys for that reason. So this is another one where I want you to keep your eye on this, because there's a world where this game comes down to the very wire and the Cardinals could pull away an upset here. I'm not going to say that's going to happen. Obviously, I have the Rams winning this game, but this is one of those where you really should keep your eye on, because the Cardinals, if they can stack on another game like they did against Buffalo offensively, they might be in, or people or fans might be in for a little bitty 5'10" Kyler Murray size surprise. That's so cheesy. That was dumb. I'm not going to do that again. But we got 4 games to go. Steelers at the Broncos. Give me the Steelers to win this game, and I expect this game to be boring, and more boring, because the Broncos didn't do much last week. I think they're still going to struggle, especially against a Steelers defense that's much, much better, and it's a really good advantage there. But also, on the Steelers offense, I expect more of the same from Justin Fields. He's going to start in week 2, and I just expect to see more solid quarterback play. Nothing great, nothing bad, just simple, effective, taking care of the ball, and doing enough to win. And I think this game will probably be like 20-14 or something like that. Like, it's just going to be another close, boring game that the Steelers are going to pull away and win because the defense and TJ Watt is absolutely nuts. But better team, Steelers, they're going to win this game. Then Bengals at the Chiefs. I'm picking the Chiefs to win this game because even though I had the Chiefs, or predicted the Chiefs to start slow this year, last week, week 1 against Baltimore, they didn't miss a single freaking beat. And I was worried about how the receivers were going to play, and the receivers played well. I was worried about Isaiah Pacheco and this young offensive line. Well, oh my God, what am I talking about? Maybe more particularly Kingsley Suamataia. I can't remember the name, how it's actually pronounced. But hey, he played well too. And here's the thing. The way the Bengals started off slow, they can't afford to do that against Kansas City. You know, they need to put up a better fight, and they need to put up more points if they have a chance to beat Kansas City. Because if they can get beat down and drugged through the mud against the Patriots, they might be in a rude awakening against the Chiefs if they're not careful. But here's to hoping that T. Higgins will be back and this offense will be healthy finally, and so we can get a good game in week 1. But ultimately, right now, give me the Chiefs to win this football game. And moving on, we get the Bears at the Texans. And give me the Texans to win this game. They looked very convincing in week 1. Their defense looked a little shaky. But hey, you're going up against a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams, who did not have a good first starting debut with Chicago. And that's the big thing for this game is, can Caleb Williams have a better game? I think he will. I think this offense is going to make plays. This offense is going to be more efficient and productive. And we're going to see some flashes that we really wanted to see in week 1. But I don't think it's going to be enough to be the Houston Texans. I think people are expecting the Texans. Well, the people are expecting the Houston Texans to really compete for a Super Bowl this year. Do I think that's going to be the case? No. But they're going to be a playoff team. And it's going to be another strong, potentially strong defense to go up against for the Houston Texans and for Caleb Williams to try and overcome. But to conclude, we got the Falcons at the Eagles at Monday Night Football. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. Their offense looked very, very, very good against the Packers last week. Their defense, secondary, it looked a little shaky. But here's the thing. They're going up against an offense and passing attack with Kirk Cousins and the Falcons that was not good last week. I predicted the Falcons to start slow. They started slow, and I think they're going to start slow here too. So let's see the secondary have a bounce-back game for Philly, and give me Philly again to win Monday Night Football. And we'll just have to see. I kind of want to do a recap to see like how well I did the week before, like if I was right or not, and kind of track that. I think that would be kind of fun. I'll start that up next week, and I'll jump through week 1 real quick, and then we'll do week 2, and then it'll kind of just ease its way into the show organically as I see fit. But that is going to do it for me today. Sorry that I had to re-record this. Kind of dumb, but hey, it's my fault. Should have had more storage on my phone, I guess. Had a lot of stuff I got rid of, so this should not be an issue anymore. But again, sorry if it looks a little jank. I'm sorry for my voice and how much I stuttered. And this is definitely not my best vocal performance, but I quickly just got on here and had to re-record and fix it because I couldn't just not put something out. But hey, here's to next week being a better video than this one and having a more consistent approach. Shumake Take really has not been consistent when it comes to cuts and being fluid all the way throughout. But here's the thing. It's going to get better. It's the beginning of the season. We still got a whole season to go. So we got until February to get this right. And I think we're going to be, by the time that goes on, the show is going to be in a lot better place than it is now. But that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to do what every YouTuber tells you to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, do all that jazz. And thank you again for stopping by. And you guys are amazing. I will see you in the next one.